Coach, how tough are those losses, holding leads late in the game and then giving them up? I mean, is that tougher than going out 2-1?
Yes and no. I mean, when you have an opportunity to put somebody away, you want to take advantage of that. The only bright spot is it means that you're in the games, and I just looked at our last 16 games, and I think 12 of those games we've won or lost by 2 or less runs. So it says you're in the ball game and playing better, but it says you're just not finishing people out and taking care of business. And when you squander leads late in the ball game, that hurts.
As far as they kind of those losses point toward the bullpen and inability to hold leads and stuff. Is there something you can do as a coach as far as I guess it forces you to leave your starters in longer than maybe theoretically you'd like to try and.
Well, yeah, and there's a fine line between when you go into a 3-game series, you want to have kind of piggyback your pitchers. This past weekend, Leonard gave us close to 7 innings. We piggybacked, or less than that actually. We piggybacked him with Jeff Johnson and came in and finished the game. We tried to do that with Malden and DiVincenzi. In doing that, we saved Eugene Wright. He got his first start on Sunday. So it's a fine line. It's a juggling act. Usually, we can be pretty good for 2 out of the 3 games, and if things fall into place, we can be competitive for that 3rd game. But it's not just on the bullpen or the pitching staff. I mean, we didn't play very solid defense this past weekend, which was really upsetting. We were playing tentative and scared, and there was no reason for that.
Did you make any changes, whether it's the lineup or who's in the lineup or anything like that, to try and jolt this team? I know that DJ's played a little more lately. What can you do to try and jolt?
Well, yeah, I mean, you try to look at different combinations, but we're pretty limited in what we can do, and we're without 2 of our most productive offensive players over the course of the season. Brayton, our catcher, and Mitch Haniger, our right fielder. They both have injuries that they limit them to 1 at-bat over the weekend each, and so they're day-to-day, and Haniger's probably doubtful for the near future. He has a bad back, so it provides somebody else an opportunity, but it just weakens you in the long run. It weakens your bench, but it gives somebody else an opportunity to help them develop either for this year or for the future here at Cal Poly.
Hey, Coach, for a team coming off of a tremendous amount of success last year and the previous couple of years, you say the team's playing timid and scared, I guess. I mean, why is that? What can you put your finger on and what's causing this year's struggles on the field?
Well, good pitching always hides your weaknesses, like I've always said, and when you have solid pitching and are just able to play defense, then things fall into place. I think over the years I've seen a lot where young players, if they're surrounded by better players and they're just role players when they're young, then they can have really good seasons. But when they're asked to step up and become the guy, as they get older, sometimes it's more difficult. It's a learning experience. Sometimes they put too much pressure on themselves, and so it's always things that we're working on. It's not all just physical. There's a lot of mental side to the baseball.
You feel like the guys are still just kind of like gripping the bats too tight, and because now at 9-21, I mean, like Coach Condon said, the pressure I guess should be off right now. You would think.
Yeah, it should be, but for the first time, really saw it on the defensive end of it, because we defensively, infield-wise, catching-wise, we've been fairly solid in the majority of games this year, and finally saw to where we weren't. I mean, on Friday night and Saturday, we really played tentative, played scared, did things that were out of character for those individuals, and it ended up costing us.
In terms of